Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle Lord. I'm the founder and principal of Archetype Learning Solutions. And on this channel, we speak about employee engagement, and that's pretty much all we talk about on this particular channel. So our whole idea, our whole strategy comes from this idea that employee engagement shouldn't cost you anything other than a little bit of time and energy that comes from the heart. And that is about building relationships with each of your team members in order to enhance engagement overall. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I have really recently started to notice. A lot of this stems from anecdotal evidence that I've heard from folks who are in the field. And then additionally to that, it also stems from recent research work that I did with two fellow physicians, my research partners, Christopher Kodama and Maria Granzotti, both physicians who transitioned into leadership roles. So our work that we recently finished back in October of 2025 was all about understanding how physicians, what they are experiencing and how that experience is translating into leadership fatigue for physicians as they move into those roles. That came out a lot better in my head than it did right now, but hopefully that was understandable jargon that I just spilled out. Okay. Now, all of my academic research has been focused in the space of how people transition into roles, teams, cultures, organizations. And so there is a very strong connection to the engagement work. But ideally, when someone calls up and says, hey, we would like to offer you a position doing X, Y, or Z within our team or within this organization, you come in, you interview, they're all excited about the expertise that you bring. And suddenly you show up and you sit back and you assess for a little bit, trying to understand how to best fit into this new culture that you find yourself in. And you're asked to, hopefully you're asked to, or you're given the opportunity to share your expertise about something. Now, for me, expertise comes from both education and experience. So education plus experience equals expertise. That's why you were hired. That's why you were brought into a role. What I'm hearing anecdotally from folks in the field is that I show up with my expertise and I am told I am argumentative, I'm not a team player, I don't have the organization's best interest at heart, I'm disruptive, and they're getting bad performance evaluations. They're not being invited into conversation or dialogue around why they are talking about these particular things. They're suddenly just labeled as a bad hire. So that's on the anecdotal side. On the research side, the research that we just finished with the physicians transitioning into those leadership roles, they're often hearing the same thing. So they're coming in as physicians into administrative leadership roles, and they're told, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't understand the situation, and you're just flat out disruptive because you're trying to push through a particular agenda. I think a lot of the lack of engagement that we're seeing among employees right now is because they are being told they're argumentative. They're not feeling heard. They're being told, here's a bill of goods that we're selling you because we want to have you in this role. But once you get into this role, you realize it was nothing more than a bag of magic beans. And that really the folks that hired you saw you as being perfect for their vision. But operationally, you're running into challenges. And those challenges often stem from, I don't know what, fear, ego, I don't know. But anecdotally, and from a research perspective, this is what we're hearing on a pretty regular basis. Your expertise does not matter, and you're disruptive or argumentative because you're bringing up really important points that we just don't simply want to hear, or we don't see any value around listening or engaging in what it is that you have to say and want to contribute. So if you're a manager, if you're a director, a supervisor, take time to understand. And this is actually one of the strategies in my Engaging Your Employees toolkit is changing your perspective, taking the time to sit back and understand and listening to really listen and engage and be educated yourself rather than just having an opinion and listening in order to formulate something that's going to be counter to what your employee is trying to tell you. So perspective taking is really, really a powerful tool that folks in managerial supervisor roles can utilize to their best advantage. And I think here's the trick. Just because you have the leader title doesn't always make you the leader. Sometimes stepping back and allowing other people to lead through their own expertise is the most valuable contribution that you can make for both your own growth as a manager and as well as making sure that others in your charge, in your care, your employees are feeling valued so that they can contribute their degree of expertise. That is indeed why you hired them. All right, if this content resonates with you, I hope you'll follow along, leave questions, comments below. I'd love to connect and hear about the engagement experiences you're having within your own organization. But value that expertise. That's why they were hired, and they're actually there to make you look good. All right, I hope to connect again soon. Thanks so much for watching.